Hi, my name is Kim. We are going to do some gentle yoga stretches today. So when you're ready, we're going to go ahead and get started in just our cross-legged seat. If this is not comfortable, you can use a pillow to sit on, or a rolled up blanket, or a towel, something to sit on. I'm going to use this pillow to sit on. That way it allows the hips to open because the hips are lifted. So find whatever is comfortable for you. And we are going to start our practice by closing our eyes, because this way we can take our awareness inside and see how you are doing today. Take a little survey of you. How are you physically doing, and even emotionally, giving that awareness to how you're doing today. And then we start to slow our breathing, where it feels very calming and very healing. And we are able to soften. So if we're holding any tension, for example, in the forehead, between the eyes, or in the jaw, neck, shoulders, we start to soften. And sometimes there's a thought that we can soften, or a situation that we can soften. And so with that nice, slow, calming, healing breathing, eyes closed or open, we're softly going to bring our chin to chest. And there is absolutely no need to overstretch, only to where you find that happy, healthy stretch that our bodies remember and then build on. If you would like, take your chin across your chest, drawing a few smiley faces. And let's pause back to chin to chest. No rush, bringing our chin to the sky. And see how it feels to have your right ear fall toward your right shoulder. We could tuck our chin toward that same shoulder if that feels good. Taking our chin back up to the sky. Left ear falling toward our left shoulder. And the chin tucking toward that same shoulder if that's okay. One more time, chin back up towards the sky. And bringing your chin back to center and opening your eyes just with a nice soft gaze. And we're going to stretch our shoulders. Let's take that right arm on top, left arm underneath, like we were giving ourselves a big hug. So for our shoulders, at the fingertips, it's your stretch, your practice. You find that place where the fingertips feel good. They can walk on maybe to your shoulder blades, or if that's too much today, not a big deal. All we are doing is looking for a good stretch. And let's change sides. Bring that other arm on top. Walk those fingertips to where they need to go. We're still having that nice, calming, healing breath. Let's unwind those arms, and on your inhale, let's bring those arms up overhead. Interlace those fingers, turn those palms towards the sky. We're going to keep our neck nice and relaxed here, and the shoulder blades down and on the back. Elbows just a little bit bent out to the side. And on your exhale, let's take a seated twist to the right, bringing those hands down to that right leg. And as always, starting that twist from our lower belly and then having it work its way up towards the shoulders. And eyes can go to the side or eyes can go to the back. Let's inhale back to center. We're going to interlace those fingers again. Take those palms towards the sky. Check in, see how that neck feels. The shoulders down and on the back. On your exhale, let's take a seated twist to the other side. Lower belly, that's where that starts. So we can get those digestive benefits and internal organ benefits by detoxing while we take a twist from the lower belly. And let's inhale back to center, interlacing those fingers one more time, taking those palms up. And then on your exhale, let's bring those palms forward, rounding through our back, chin to chest. And let's softly bring those hands down to the knees. And so from here, we're gonna, on our exhale, round through the spine, tucking the chin toward the chest if that feels good. And then on your inhale, finding a straight or a neutral spine. So one might feel better than another today. So on that exhale, round through the spine. On your inhale, straight or neutral spine. Let's do one more. On that exhale, round through the spine, maybe chin towards the chest. And inhale back to a straight or neutral spine. And we're going to set that pillow aside if you're using one, and make our way to all fours for our cat-cow backs. So the hands underneath the shoulders, knees under the hips. If you wanted to come into cat back first, we round our spine towards the ceiling, we let our head drop, and we let our tailbone drop. And we can stay here for how long it feels like you want to today. When you're ready, on an inhale, we would find our cow back, rounding our belly towards the mat and lifting our head and lifting our tailbone. So it kind of feels like we're sticking our bum out, because we kind of are, and that's good, that's good. We're finding a stretch. Then you play between these two poses, these two stretches, with our internal organs finding another little massage and lengthening the spine and finding that back stretch. And from a neutral spine, we're going to walk those hands over to the right. So feeling a C curve in the side body and in the spine. So if those hands are at a diagonal, that is fantastic. If they're facing the side, your stretch, find what feels best to you. Let's walk those hands back to center and see what feels good on the other side. And back to center. We're going to make our way back to child's pose. So bring those hips back. If the hips are up in the air, that is awesome. If they're back, that is awesome. Either way, that's our child's pose. And our neck can find a place to feel nice and relaxed with our forehead resting in a good place. That feels good for the neck. We can sway our forehead side to side if that feels good. From our child's pose, let's come forward to our belly on our mat into a cobra or baby cobra. We'll start with the baby cobra. Hands underneath the shoulders and by the top ribs. So, shoulders on the back, necks in line with the spine. If I wanted to lift my hands up, that would not stress my back out whatsoever. So that height would be, that's that alignment for the height. Or maybe on the forearms feels better. We could find cobra, hands back underneath by the top ribs, and come up cobra, soft bend in those arms, shoulders still coming down and back, heart coming forward. Finding a really good stretch and so many benefits. Shoulders, chest, back, spine. And let's make our way back down to our mat and make our way to all fours. From all fours, let's bring that right foot to the just 90 degree here. We're gonna take a twist to the right. So let's have those hands in prayer hands. If we're kind of tight and it doesn't feel that great, you find that twist where that is. We don't need to force that or make it feel like it doesn't feel good. So always, if that twist is little, that is very fine. It's the intention of twisting from the lower belly, whether that's a big twist or a little twist. It's all good. If you want to, your hands can find your leg, and then maybe we can find a twist that way. If it feels okay, the outside of that arm finds the outside of that leg, prayer hands, and then we use those prayer hands and the arm and the leg to lift up and out of the lower belly. And eyes can be looking up, they can be looking out, or they can be looking down. Whatever feels best on your neck. And let's help ourselves unwind so you can make your way back to all fours and change sides to that 90 degree here. If you would like prayer hands, we're going to take that twist to the other side. You find your twist today. No need to over twist. Lifting up and out of that lower belly no matter where we're at. So for a couple of breaths, twisting from our lower belly. And let's make our way back to center and to our knees. So if this bothers the knees, you can double up your mat. We don't want our knees to be bothered. So our camel pose. We're gonna lengthen through the spine and lengthen the tailbone. So we're not gonna be sticking our bum out here, or we're not gonna collapse through the heart. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. So you're gonna check in and see what feels good for our camel pose as far as hands to the lower back for support. If it feels okay, those shoulders, we got that good posture going on. Shoulders can come back. If that feels good and the neck feels okay, the eyes can start to lift. Maybe the chin. And the heart can also start to lift towards the sky. And make your way back to a neutral spine, super slow. With the head, the last thing to come up because we don't want to get dizzy and it can place pressure on the spine. So let's do one more of those as far as hands to the lower back for support. How's that posture? If the neck's okay, we can lift the eyes. The chin. We can start to lift the heart. And no rush. Back to our neutral spine with the head the last thing to come up. And I'm going to unwind my mat. Let's make our way to child's pose. This time let's take our knees out wide. And help yourself to our cobra pose. So sliding forward on your belly, baby cobra, on the forearms, sphinx pose, or up dog or cobra. We are going to make our way to our left side and to our back for Savasana. So here we lay back, we take the time to lay back in our Savasana. To close our eyes, to let the hands relax, let the palms face up, and the feet relax. And we find that calming breathing, that healing breathing. And we don't have our to-do list in here. That can wait. We are present. We don't need to be 3 hours from now. We don't need to be 3 hours ago. We need to be right here, right now. That makes for a strong, strong, healthy mind. Giving that mind a chance to just relax. Shavasana for however long you like. When you're ready, we roll to one side of our mat. And then use our hands to help ourselves up to our comfortable seat. Bringing our hands to our hearts. Bowing our heads to our hearts, all that good energy. With so much gratitude for our hearts. From my heart to yours. Namaste. Hi, my name's Kim. We are going to do some gentle yoga stretches for our hips, glutes, inner thigh, outer thigh, and hamstrings, and our quads. Oh, and a calf stretch as well. So we're going to start on our back. Lying on our back. We can close our eyes if we want, because we are going to find our calming breathing, that nice healing breathing. So slowing your breath to where that feels very calming. And softening anywhere that needs to be softened, that we might hold a little bit of tension. We're letting it go. Continue with that nice calm breathing and nice healing breathing. Let's bring those feet on our mat hip width apart. And let's take that right ankle and cross it over that left knee. And we're going to keep that right foot flexed to protect the knee. So options here, we could be here, of course. We could start to give that right thigh just a little nudge away. That might deepen our stretch. If you need a little more, we could reach through that window to the back of the hamstring and give ourselves a nice little hug in with the left leg to make that deep stretcher through the hips, maybe the outer thigh. And we're going to unwind and plant that right foot hip width apart. Left ankle above that right knee. We're going to flex that foot. Your options, your stretch, your body. If you need to be here, if we need to softly push that left thigh away, reach through that window if that deepens that stretch. And in any stretch, in any twist, pose, yoga, it is so about what you need and not what anybody else needs. It's what feels best to you. So always listening to what you need. That is the ticket. And let's put those feet back down, hip width apart. Hands just relax out to the side. Let's have those knees fall softly to the right. If it deepens your stretch, we can put that right foot on the outside of that left knee. And then we can take our eyes opened or closed to the left. So maybe we feel that through the side body as well as through the outer thigh and the glutes. And let's bring those feet hip width on our mat. And let's have those feet fall, or the knees fall softly to the other side. If you want that left foot on the outside of the right knee, go ahead. And then the eyes opened or closed to the right if that feels good on the neck. And let's make our way out of our pose and make our way to our right side. We're going to give that quad a stretch. So we can be on our forearm, up on our hand, whatever's most comfortable. We're going to bring that foot towards our bottom. as always, it's about you and finding your best stretch. If you can't feel this through the quad, you could come into half hero's pose, but the top of that foot needs to find the top of the mat, and then the shin bone has to find the mat. So here, if our knee was up in the air or our foot was not finding the top of that mat, this is going to be our better stretch. So anywhere from here, again, if it's not close to our bottom, we're finding a stretch. And let's change sides. And as we know, each side can be a little different. You check in, take that survey, what's going on with you today. Foot towards that bottom. Half hero's pose on this side would be, again, top of that foot, finding the top of the mat, as well as the bottom of the knee and the shin bone. So no knee up in the air and no foot out to the side. Top of the foot to the mat, leg to the mat. We're going to help ourselves unwind. Making our way to all fours. We're going to take that right foot back and just on the ball of the foot to find a calf stretch. We could even think here about, okay, spreading the toes, maybe feeling a stretch through the foot. If we don't feel this at all, we can even take the weight off of the left leg or the knee to make that a little bit deeper. And go ahead and switch sides. And let's come to our seated position on our mat. Our seated, we're gonna bring that right ankle over that left ankle. So we're gonna start to see where that stretches for our the outside, the outer thigh, the hip, ankle over ankle, perhaps. Maybe the ankle is above that knee. So you check in with you, we're gonna flex that foot if that ankle is above that knee. If you feel like you need more, we could even start to think about lifting that leg a little bit. Maybe take a little sway side to side, just a tiny sway. And if you've got that extra flexibility, we can cradle that top leg. But remember, it's so about you and your stretch and inviting new, fresh energy into the body, because it feels really good, because we don't ever want to force the stretches, because that doesn't feel very good. So let's unwind from this side. We're going to see how the left ankle, how that feels on the outside of that leg and the hip. Ankle over ankle. Maybe the ankle above the knee. Flexing that foot. You start to play. If you want to think about lifting that top leg a little bit, maybe a little sway, or that cradle, if that feels like is a good stretch. Let's unwind. And our seated forward fold. Let's bring that right foot in to our tree pose. This is a pretty big hamstring stretch right here. So we're going to see if we want to keep that front knee a little bit soft. And we're going to head out over that front leg. We're going to feel a pretty big hamstring stretch. So here, top of the head towards the top of the foot is the intention, and heart towards that leg. If our forward fold is here, as long as we have a stretch, you play, you explore. If that is a little tight in that hamstring, give that leg a little bend. Let's help ourselves up and see how our other side does. Our tree pose. You decide, how's your hamstring feeling? Give it that little bend if that's better, or either way, that intention is top of the head towards the top of the foot. Even if it's in my mind and it's happening in my mind, that's the intention. And making our way up, coming into half splits. We're going to come to our knees, and I'm going to use the ground just to help myself bring my right leg forward. We're thinking hamstrings. The back toe, it can be flat, or those back toes can tuck under. Either way, up to you. Then to feel that stretch to that hamstring in our half splits. If we need that little bend, if that's where our better stretch is, that is happening. Or if we have an inch in our splits today, we can inch that foot out just a little bit. Our half splits, or medium splits, or full splits. And no rush whatsoever, let's change sides. So I'm just gonna use the ground to help change sides, back toes flat or tucked under. How's this hamstring feeling? If it feels great, that's where we want to be for a couple of breaths, or bending that knee, or playing with maybe an inch or two coming forward in our half splits, kind of medium splits. And let's make our way out of our half splits pose into our straddle pose. So we're going to take one leg out and bend one leg in, unless it is in your practice and you want to have both legs out, by all means. So we're just going to bend one leg in if you like, or whichever option. And if it feels good to be in a half straddle pose and find a straight spine, this is perfect. If we want to start to walk those hands out a little bit, that might deepen the stretch. And we're going to change sides. Unless you have both legs out, you can give those legs a little shake and then go back to both legs out. So as far as checking in with the spine, the posture, start to head forward if that feels like a good thing today. That is a big stretch. And helping ourselves up, let's just do one more, our butterfly pose. Where we talked about before, we have that diamond shape where the feet are a little bit further away, or feet closer in, up to you. Also, if this bugs the hips, having a pillow or that blanket or something to sit on to lift the hips, to open the hips a little bit more. So if the knees are popping up like this, sitting on a pillow or a blanket will help allow those hips to open. And then if you do need a little bit more, just heading forward just a little bit. And let's unwind and give those legs a little shake. And thanks for stretching today. Hope that felt good on those legs. And I will see you next time. Namaste.